Hey, I'm Suzanne.
And I'm Annie.
And we have 111 years of experience. And on today's episode,
we're talking to
dun, dun, dun.
my mom. We call her Mamoo. So welcome, Mamoo. Welcome to our episode about Mamoo's best advice.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. And I want you both to know how proud I am of both of you. So thank you.
We're having a good time.
We are having a good time. It's fun.
So, Mom, I have a quick question. You want to tell a little bit about your story about kind of like, we talk a lot on the podcast about like special needs kids because Suzanne and I both have special needs kids, but you also had a special needs child and how you had to deal with that. And you dealt with it like 25, 30 years before we did.
Yeah.
So the things were even harder, I think, and maybe not as available as what you have.
Awareness was probably
very low.
Very, very low.
Yeah. So do you want to kind of tell your story a little bit?
Sure. This was way back in the early 1970s, and I have a little boy, and he was bright and beautiful, very alert. He was 3 years old, and he was teaching himself how to read and write. And then he came down with a sickness called West Nile virus.
Wow.
And it did some brain damage. When he came out of the hospital a week later, we were just thankful he lived through it. And that's when all of the problems started then. And he started displaying a lot of disabilities. And there wasn't anything much offered back then for children with disabilities. There was no schooling. Doctors didn't know that much about it. Teachers certainly weren't trained at the time to look after these children. And so it was a hard struggle, but we just took it one year after another. And just, I did a lot of praying. I always tell you, there's a lot of prayers went up for this kid. And I always tell him he put every gray hair on my head. But he was a blessing, and he was the greatest teacher of all. And back in the 70s, there was no schooling, like I say. And I recently made a good friend with a retired teacher. She's probably in her 70s now. And she told me that she taught elementary school way back when, and someone had brought in a child with disabilities, and she said she absolutely felt like the most hopeless and helpless person on earth because she could not teach the child. She didn't know how. She hadn't had any training for that. And she said it just devastated her whole outlook on the school system. And she knew then that they needed classes for children with special needs. So after talking to her, and we shared a lot over the years, my son's name was Hagen. And when he first became disabled, I used to say, and I was just a young mother, why me, Lord? Wait a minute. Give this child to somebody else. I love him, but I don't think I can do this. This is more than I can handle.
We've all been there.
And there was no one really to lean on. So I increased my faith as time went on and depended on the Lord to lead me because I didn't have any other guidance much. But when I said, why me, Lord, I knew later that, and I think this is to have an outreach to all of you who are young mothers of children with disabilities and you feel totally like you're lost. You're not. You're right where God wants you to be, because God knows what we can handle, and we too will grow through this process of raising this child. God has a plan for your future as well as your child's. Don't ever forget that. All through the raising of this child, He is equipping you for something later. And I know Annie can share her story, how things changed from when I was little and how it changed your career and everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did. It had a huge impact on what I wound up doing for a career as opposed to what I was kind of thinking I was going to go into. Up till that point, I kind of had thought I was going to go into medical or something like that. And then once I got around the kids and I could see how big of an impact it made, I was like, that's what I want to do.
Hello, this is Sean, director and editor for the 111 Years Experience podcast. A new segment that we are revealing today is our Resource of the Week. For some context, recently we were gifted with the opportunity to attend a resource fair outside of the Nashville area and got to meet some amazing companies that are providing much-needed resources for special needs families, both children and adults. As a way to give back, using the reach that we have, over the next few episodes, we will dedicate a minute or so of time to share these resources to you in case they are something that you would be interested in. Far too often, we've come across people who've said, not to mention we've often thought this ourselves, there's got to be help. I know I can't do this alone. And while this is a small gesture, we hope that this helps you in some way along your journey. If you are interested in learning more or connecting with the said resource, a link to their socials and website will be in the podcast description or post. Also, a disclaimer. No money was exchanged in any way for space in the podcast. We're just trying to help.
Hi, I'm Lorianne Schwartz, owner and speech-language pathologist at Rise Up Therapies. And I'm Janae Richter, an SLP and the clinic manager for Rise Up Therapies. And we see kids and adults of all ages. Our mission is about bringing hope to families through speech, feeding, and occupational therapy services with a team who truly cares. So if you're interested in any of that, then you can find us on our socials on Facebook or Instagram at Rise Up Therapies. Thanks so much.
I was going to bring back to Hagen when he was growing up. This was pre-special ed.
Yeah.
It was before special ed. And a lot of the teachers that he had, they cared about him and they wanted to do well by him, but they did not understand at all why.
Zero training.
There was zero understanding. I think in general, the general population didn't understand much about anyone with any kind of a difference.
Yeah.
Period. No matter whether it was ADHD or like what Hagen had, where he was like developmentally delayed, intellectually
Epilepsy
and
diabetes and everything just kept cropping up.
Yeah, and so it was a huge difference. Also because where we were from is a very rural area in Indiana. They did not have many services.
Right. They probably don't have many schools.
No, schools were no. We had big. Yeah, there were big areas. Like 1/3 of the county would have a school.
Yeah.
Sometimes in some of the schools they'd only have or some of the counties only have like 1 or 2 schools, and so there was just not the population that would afford to be able to get that much services. So a big push for us to when we moved here, which we didn't realize at the time, was that it would benefit my son to have a lot of services. Yeah. And so therefore, and I was just amazed at how much they offered here as opposed to in rural Indiana where they were not offering much.
And actually, Hagen didn't have any schooling with special needs till he was in the 6th and 7th grade.
That's when they finally started.
The elementary school really did not know what to do with him. So they kept him in the 3rd grade for 2 to 3 years and hoping that maybe this would help him at some point. Mm-hmm. And then the idea of a special class for special needs children came up in another town that was 30 minutes away. So he had to actually get on the bus and ride longer than
so we would ride an hour and 5 minutes into school.
Yeah.
Then
so that was normal?
That was our normal.
Oh my gosh.
Because we're out in the middle of nowhere.
Right. Yeah.
And then he would get on a different bus and I would see him get on the other bus and then he would ride another 30 minutes to get into his regular school.
And he
loved it. Oh, that's good. He loved it. It was a huge, good impact, positive impact, and definitely worth the time that was invested. But that's a lot of time to spend on a bus.
Yes. Well, when was about 3, she was on a bus to almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
she was right up to the line of how long you could be on a bus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
at that age.
Yeah,
and I was like, "You're making my baby be on the bus." But they were like, "She's fine. It's fine. She's fine. It's okay. She sleeps. It's okay."
Yeah, I think that's what he must have did. Or he talked to somebody.
Yeah,
he had a great personality.
She was little. She slept, I think, and then when she was older, she had her iPad. So
yeah, and they in the school that Hagen did attend then, at first with his classmates. They did eventually develop a class for special needs, and they had the most wonderful teacher. And again, he fell in love with her. And he totally loved her and adored her.
He had her for many, many years because they literally only had like one special ed teacher in the whole school.
Yeah.
In an area where she had an assistant, and that was just the only ones.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that really blessed my heart was the original class that Hagen started school with at this rural country school, that they wanted him to graduate with them and receive a certificate of graduation. And it just blessed my heart. I thought, that just is really going over and beyond what I expected. And it blessed him, too. He got to graduate with his classmates. And one thing about children with special needs, I think we talked about this earlier, sometimes other children can be cruel to them because they don't understand what's going on with them. And there was times when Hagen was being picked on in the playground, and he had, it was just like the Lord always provided a special child to be his friend. And he had one boy who stuck up for him in the playground and ended up defending him and had to go to the principal's office. And the principal called his parents in. And when the boy told his parents and the principal that he was defending Hagen, that he didn't want to see him hurt, his parents stood up to that principal and said, "You did the right thing. We're so proud of you."
Absolutely.
And so anyways, as time went on, things come up like that. You have to learn how to address it and deal with it.
It was pretty cool too, because like I knew both that student and his sister was more in my class ages range. And so I got to know they were both great. They were both just like that kind of person, and like their parents did a really good job for both of those kids. But I also think too, like we were talking to Shannon just a little while ago, and when we were talking to Shannon, we were talking about the differences in the attention that you give the kids, and it is kind of a thing that I knew that I instinctively knew he was going to require a different amount of attention. And it was not like a negative thing. It was not like, oh, well, he gets this and I don't get this. It was never like that. It was more like I understood that, wow, he requires a lot from you guys.
Yeah.
And I was more likely to say, wow, that's a lot, like almost like
That's pretty mature for a kid.
admiration. I was like, well, you do grow up a little bit faster because you do have a little bit different ideas about things, a little bit more, responsibility and stuff like that, and just your everyday life that maybe another kid may not have had. But I was always like, I was kind of admired how you guys were with him and how much I understood that it took a lot. And I was kind of like relieved when you guys would take and do some, like it was almost like a relief to me because like I would be like, oh, I can do my own thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and you did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and he was so gracious and so loving. And I think if he had one French fry left, he would give it to her. He knows she loves her.
Not to say I was doted on or anything, but yeah, okay.
He had the world of Annie, he did. And of his brother Sean, too.
I always say that's why I like ornery little boys, because of him. And it's like, seriously, like good Lord knew that I had the personality that Bucks did love this.
I was like, you can handle this one because you had to handle that one.
He gave me some training there that I didn't know I really had early on. Yeah, that I really like that personality of someone who's just a little spark, has a little spark in their step. I always like that a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, I really kind of reach out to those young mothers out there, children with special needs. There's something I want to say, and it is that your child is a special gift from God. And God only gives special gifts for special people. Girls, you're special. You're special. And it's kind of like a very especially wrapped gift with an extra bow just for you. And that's the way I always thought about it, was that, I used to say, why me, Lord? And then I got to saying, thank you, Lord, because you have taught me so much, and Hagen himself taught me so much. He had compassion for other children. If they were little, he had compassion for them. And then if they were handicapped in any way, he would go right to them and talk to them and make them feel comfortable. And I think that was his gift. He cared for others. And after he graduated, he became Mr. Independent. And he wanted to ride his bike, and it was hard for me to let him go on the road with that bike. We taught him all the rules we could, and he did follow them to a T. And he was slow, but he did it. And people would tell me, don't let him on that road with the bike. You don't know what's going to happen. But he had such an independence about him, and I knew if I took his bike away from him, he'd probably get out and walk.
Yep.
He wanted to be pill. He wanted to go places and do things. And
Independent.
he always came back at the end of the day with that bike.
Yeah.
And so people throughout the community who knew him would look out after him and take him in their houses and everything.
Aw.
Give him cold drinks and all. But he was pretty popular, right?
Yeah, they'd be like, someone would definitely like be just pulling up, driving by, and they'd be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
do you need a Coca-Cola or something?" And he'd be like, "Is that Diet Coke?" And if it was Diet Coke, he'd be like, "Well, yes, thank you." But if he got thirsty, he would like knock on someone's door and say, "Can I get some water out of your hose? I don't want to solder you. I'm sorry." But like his personality was really extroverted. Like he really loved connecting with people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure that he was not afraid. He did not have that fear of new and different people. Like it wasn't scary to him. He loved it. He never met a stranger. No. He was always very extroverted and outgoing, and actually quite popular with a lot of people because he was always saying funny things, and he was always
He liked to push their buttons and make them laugh.
a little bit of like a shocker. You know what I'm saying? Where he liked to shock people a little bit. So like he'd say something outrageous just to see what they would do. Yeah, like the 90-year-old lady. Wow, you look younger than my mom.
Yes, and of course they would warm right up to. They'd have
Like, oh, thank you. And he'd see you never met him before. He'd say, "Have you lost weight since the last time we see you?" They'd be like, "Well, yes, I have." You never seen him before?
He inherited Daddy's charm.
Yeah.
And I think when he became Mr. Independent, I called him, those years of riding the bike, and he finally came up to me one day, and he said, "Mom," he said, "I think you're getting too old to take care of me now." Now, this is what he said.
Yeah.
And he said, "I've looked into a group home." Now, he did this on his own. He knew people that belonged to the group home, so he was contacting them. And he said, and he even made an appointment for me to meet the lady in charge at a restaurant. And by that time, we had gotten him his own apartment, and he did live in the apartment, had wonderful neighbors for a few years. And then it got to the place where he said, "I think I need to go to a group home because I'm taking more and more medicine, and the seizures are getting worse, and we're just getting too old now."
Yes, he did. I remember
Yes. So we made arrangements, and he did move into a group home. And it was really great for him because he became the big brother to all of these men in the group home. There were 7 of them.
And he really had a big heart for anybody who could not verbalize what their needs were. And so he would advocate at times for other men that were living in the group home because they couldn't discuss things. And if he thought somebody was being mean to somebody else, he had a strong sense of justice that was not going to fly. It was not going to happen. Not with him around. He had a lot of that strong sense of right and wrong. And if he thought somebody was doing wrong by somebody else, he would speak up. I mean, and it's sometimes in a lot of ways the voice of someone who didn't have any voice.
Yeah, so as time went on, then his health started to decline. It's almost like he might have had a premonition that the health was going to start to decline as well, because it did. He was in the group home for 5 years, and then the last year and a half, his health just started. There was more serious seizures that was causing a lot more attending to him, and his diabetes got worse, and everything was just blowing out of proportion. And what I want to say about that is, if God gives you this special gift of a child with special needs, you do everything you can to take care of them while you got them. because there's no guarantee you're going to have them as long as you think you will.
Right.
We lost Hagen, and he was 47, and it actually, it was really hard, and we were very sorrowful and sad. But there was another part in me that felt almost a relief because there wasn't that burden that we all carried. That burden had been lifted. And he loved Jesus. He would sing songs about Jesus loves me and things like this all the time. And he always said that when his time, he used to talk about it. He said, when my time comes, I know Jesus is going to walk right in my bedroom and take me home. He used to say that.
Yeah.
And when he passed away in his sleep.
In his bedroom.
Yeah, exactly the way he wanted it to go. I always felt like at the end there was a lot of mercy. Yeah, like he was headed down a dark road that we didn't want to see him have to go down. And so when it was all said and done, I felt like it's nothing that any of us would have chosen, and it was really difficult to go through. But there was some mercy there. The Lord gave us some mercy as far as like his suffering.
Right.
Because sometimes it was harder. He may not have even known how much he was suffering, but us from the outside watching him suffer would be heartbreaking.
Oh, he used to have so many grand mal seizures, and they tried so many different medications over the years. And they finally tried a vagal nerve stimulator device that they implanted into his collarbone there, and the leads went back to the base of his neck, and it would shoot off a little shock if a seizure was coming on. So he had a mad hell, and it actually took care of 80% of his seizures at first.
Yeah.
But as he got older and time went on, the seizures started to increase.
And it just go on. Yeah, keep up.
Yeah. And so it was, that last year he started to decline mentally as well as physically, and we could see it.
Yeah.
So it was really kind of a blessing that the Lord did take him home. And he'll be my greeter someday.
Yes. He'll be running right to him.
But, and that's where your faith comes in. You got to lean on your faith so many times with these children.
Do you have any regrets? Like,
Any regret?
now that you're here from where you started to now,
Absolutely no.
like, I wish I had done this differently.
No.
That's great.
No, because like I say, he was my best teacher.
Yeah.
And he gave me compassion for others. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you girls can probably go into a grocery store and you see a child with special needs, you just tune right into them. Just automatically.
It's true.
Yes.
Yeah. You see him, you spot him out of a crowd.
Yeah.
Oh, that one might need a little help. And let me go see what I can help with. Yeah.
Such a
Waving it, little flag.
need for that right here in Tennessee to have more group homes for young adults who have special needs.
You're right.
You're going to need more. Yeah, for sure.
The group home Hagen was in actually had a workshop where they all went into a workshop and did little jobs.
Yeah.
And they would do them for different factories in the area, just little sorting jobs.
Right. Yeah.
And it was wonderful. And then they had an RN on duty 24/7 on call. And she often called me with him.
Because
A
he
lot
was
of
seizures. Yes. And mostly seizures. Yeah, it was mostly. And she was great about getting the medicines to him.
They took him to the doctor. He ate well. He got to do any kind of. They went to dances and things like that.
So they had social life. They did the same movie and stuff like that. You go out for supper once in a while.
And that place was just the best ever. It was a godsend to most of us parents, I'm sure, because people from 3 counties came to that place and brought their children. And they would take care of them, and they would even bury them if they had to.
Oh, wow.
No parents.
I would say like the biggest difference is like where we are in Tennessee, they really do focus in on the early childhood.
Yeah.
It's very large, but they don't really focus in on the adult. But in Indiana, it was like the opposite. Yeah. Where they focused in on more of the adult situations that would come up, and not so much the early childhood at that time. Now, it might have improved. I mean, this has been 20 plus years ago. Right. We were, when I was in that situation there. But, yeah, it is kind of funny how that all took all like flip-flopped. Yeah. How one state is like, there's all of these things available. So that was a big reason, too, why you guys never had moved to Tennessee at that point in time, because They just didn't offer him the same kind of thing. Where did you find support? Who helped you?
At church.
Church?
Women at church always supported us no matter what. They stepped right in, and they made sure to know that, just because Hagen was a little different didn't mean any difference to them. They'd love us just the way we was. And another thing I wanted to point out was I believe, after all my years of experience, I'm not going to tell you how many, I believe that everyone has a disability. I have one. We all have one. Some are just more visible than others.
That's so true. Yep.
And
so true.
I have not yet met the perfect person.
No, right.
There is no perfect person.
We all have some.
There's
some struggles, some weakness that we have to work on, something that we could do better, something that we can, every single person.
Yes.
And it could be anything.
Yes.
It could be anything, but, none of us are without that.
Yep. That's for sure.
All right. And in conclusion, as we wrap this up today, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. Well, we love you. And we've been looking forward to this one for a long time. And thank you so much for sharing this great story. Fabulous. You're a fabulous example, and you've been a wonderful role model for me. And I think that because I saw what you went through when I was growing up, it helped me have a lot more courage about being a special needs mom when I grew up. Yeah, because it really set a high bar, lady.
Yeah,
you did. But I always say, I look back and I can think about the way you would make your decisions.
Yeah,
where his quality of life was important. His independence was important. His welfare was important, but some things were just as important.
My ultimate goal with Hagen was to let him have the happiest life possible while he was here.
Yeah.
Because I never knew how long I would have him.
Right.
Some of those seizures were just horrible. It's such a number on him. And every time he had one, I always thought, oh, dear Lord, give me the grace to be able to get through this.
I think the most powerful thing you ever told me was that you had given him over to God so many times.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a daily thing where you had to give him back.
He had several life-death situations.
Yeah, see this? Multiple.
And each time, the Lord just put it on my heart, just give him back to me. Let me take care of him. And it always made me feel like I had peace about the whole situation.
That's good.
That whatever would happen would be the Lord's will.
And I think that, seeing you with your faith as you walk through all this, it really did give me, I always say this, I feel like you were just an amazing role model for someone who ended, nobody knew that when I was going to have a kid that I would have one with autism or anything. And so, I really do feel like it was not the same disability, but I learned so much from watching you make decisions. And you and Dad both, and, sometimes it would, be this or that. But I have to say, you're amazing. And I appreciate it. I just appreciate you so much.
We love you. Stay, Mamoo. Keep happy and keep smiling. Keep that sense of humor going.
That's the secret.
All right, we will see you guys later. If you have any questions for Mamoo, put them in the comments.
Oh, yes. And
or for any of us, let us know.
Yes.
And we'll try to get them answered for you.
All right. Like and subscribe.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.